And we are live. What is going on, guys? It's Yasin here. Welcome back to my channel, Yasin Explicit, where I discuss everything related to relationships, dating, female nature, male nature, and just in general the dynamics between both the genders. So before I get into the topics and questions, I've got a lovely guest beside me, so I'm going to let her introduce herself first. So tell them your name, age, and what you are currently doing right now.
Yeah. So my name is Mary. Currently, I'm working a regular 9 to 5 as an assistant manager, and I'm 22.
Okay, cool. So let's get straight into it. When you think of the average man, do you
Yeah.
think he is husband material?
Um,
And if yes or if no, why?
I feel like the average man necessarily no,
Mm.
because in this society, I feel like dating has become a lot harder. So
Okay.
people are not dating to marry, so I don't feel like they're marriage material. So I
So
feel like
what are they dating for? Like, is it harder for men? Is it harder for women? Who is it harder
I
for?
think it's harder for both.
Okay.
But more women, because they get emotionally attached very early on,
Mm.
and I feel like they might want to take it to a further level, whereas men necessarily would just stop it there and move on to another person.
Yeah. So who do you think has more? Who is it easier to kind of look for a partner? Who is dating easier in this current times for? If you was to pick one gender, who would it be easier?
I feel like
Who gets more attention?
I feel like females,
Why
because
is that?
we get more attention easily, because nowadays like there's a lot of freedom for women, like
Hmm.
on the internet and even off the internet. So all you have to do is just like look good, and I
Just
feel like
post something.
look good or post something or have like a social media account and instant like attention. So
Yeah, that's right. And like on that, I would say that even if a girl posts like a
mm,
picture of a coffee in her hand or something like
yeah,
that, even that would get more engagement and likes compared to like a guy posting that same thing, right?
yeah, that's very true. I agree. Yeah.
So so that's for like the men's side. So what about women? Do you think women are the modern woman is wifey material?
Um, I feel like not really, because it's quite rare to find that, because
Hmm.
at the age like in your early 20s or mid 20s, no one is really looking for marriage nowadays, and it's
Okay.
very hard. They're looking for a relationship but not marriage. So I feel like no.
So do you think that it's like we're in a kind of time of like very short-term relationships and like
Mm.
hookup culture?
Basically, yeah. Um, because people are mostly focused on their careers or on other things, or like having fun. So they're not really looking for anything serious.
Mm. So I think to answer that, I'll give you my perspective.
Yeah.
I think in terms of the
Yeah.
men are definitely not, how should I say, living up to the standard, right?
Yeah.
They're not being their best selves, right?
Yeah.
And women naturally they're more selective, so
Mm.
they will go for a man who has certain traits and certain, ticks certain boxes.
Yeah.
So like, good looking, tall, attractive, finances in order,
Mm.
socially he's got something going on,
Yeah.
stuff like this. And in terms of women, I would say women are definitely not wifey material. And the reason for that is,
Mm.
how should I say this? They are more masculine now.
Okay.
And the reason for that is they're obviously at their jobs, right? And
Mm.
so when you're in that job environment, you're kind of, as a woman, you're, working hard, putting them hours, but it's kind of draining. It's
Yeah.
draining, and you kind of cannot be in touch with your feminine side. So the
Okay.
modern woman kind of eventually kind of loses that and becomes masculine.
Mm.
So, herself, she becomes like assertive, she talks a certain way. And these kind of things, obviously, when men are looking for like a serious
Yeah.
girlfriend or even a wife,
Yeah.
they would avoid that.
Okay. Well,
So what do you think?
I mean, I on the last subject where you feel like women are not wifey material or marriage material, I feel like I kind of disagree,
Go on, tell me why.
because um because women are more like nurturing and caring, like it's still within us. Even though we may show that we're hard, we can do this, we can do that. I feel like deep down we know when to be soft and we know when to take care of our husband or man. So I feel like it's always deep down within the women. It's just like they're putting this hard barrier to protect themselves.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is a woman can be conditionally like feminine and submissive.
Depending on the guy and what she's also looking for. But I feel like it's deep down in the woman basically.
Okay, so would you say it takes the right guy, a certain type of guy, to kind of bring that feminine?
Yeah, I feel like it really does depend on the right guy. If it's not the right guy, they will just maybe walk all over them, or they will just not take it seriously.
Yeah. So what other things do you think men look for when it comes to women? So we mentioned one, obviously, being masculine, because again, men don't want to, date themselves, right? They want to opposite, right? So if they're extremely masculine, they would want a girl who's feminine, right? So that's one thingy. But what else do you think they're looking for?
I feel like men, like nowadays, they're kind of looking for, how do I say it? They're kind of looking for more like your looks and like things, not necessarily things that you
like
bring
visual
to the table, like the visual representation of you, and also like if you fit into the society beauty standards. I feel like that's how
beauty
guys
standards
are. Yeah, like
what are the beauty standards? Tell me.
So I feel like, from what I can see, from what I've been approached about, I feel like is big lips, big back, like a big bum, and also I feel like, like big boobs as well, and like a slim waist, and nice eyes and curly hair, or like things along those lines.
So don't you think those are like attraction triggers? They're wired into men biologically. That's what they look for.
I feel like
when they see a woman with all the the looks that you mentioned, if something gets turned on in their head, or something gets sparks like in their head, it's wired in them.
I feel like in a way yes and no, because they've grown up and what they've seen on the media and what they've seen to be attractive is what basically is wired into their heads. But I feel like they're not born and they grow up and they think that's okay and that's what they find attractive. I feel like it's kind of like put into their heads.
Really?
Yeah, because
it's put into their heads from movies and stuff like this.
Yeah, from like peers and like from their past relationships and from social media. I feel like that's what they've seen. Those girls that get the most attention. Yeah. Like that's what they've seen and that's what they feel like is attractive. When in reality, there could be a girl with the complete opposite body type that people might not find attractive, or someone that might call a girl ugly. Like some guys will find it attractive, but the majority will not, because they've been programmed to find these kind of girls attractive. Yeah.
So I disagree with that. I understand what you're trying to say. Like the movies will show like certain actresses or certain singers with certain like that, the most kind of very like model, the most like beautiful women, and that's like the standard. However, I would say when women, let's just say, look for men, right, they look for a certain physique, a certain height. These things that I just mentioned now, these are not put into women through movies or through any documentaries or any shows or whatever, but women are wired to look for this. Why? Tall and muscular, because women look for protection and security, right? So they would want someone taller than them, at least, right? So go on.
Sorry. So fair enough. I do get your point as well, but like speaking for myself and my friends and people that I know, they've found height and like physique to be not as important. Because because when you meet the right person and you overlook those things, you start to look at their soul, their characteristics, and how they treat you, than looks. So I feel like, me personally, I've never gone for looks exactly. Like, you could be some sort of like,
so the guy could completely be like just fat, and you'll be fine with that as long as he has
I
an
feel
emotional
like
connection with you.
emotional and like personality. Like if you got the right personality and the
So you
right
would go
like
for a fat guy?
yeah, 100%.
You're not, are you being honest with me right now?
I am because I have dated in the past and dated guys that are not ideally my type, and even my friends have gone like, "Are you sure? Like this is like not normal of like, you know, my other friends or me personally, I wouldn't date someone like that."
I would say that case can only be true in a very rare situation
Yeah.
where, let's just say, use that example, a fat man, sure, like a girl might date him, but he would have to have something else in order, which is finances, right? So basically what I'm saying is you can be fat maybe if you have money.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
I no, I do
But the
understand
average
your
guy,
point,
if I advise, like, I don't know if there's any fat guys watching right now, if I advise them, hey, listen, just keep sitting on the sofa, keep, you know, eating crisp and playing video games, keep being fat, there's going to be a girl that likes you.
No, okay, no. Alright, like when you put it in that sense, no, like that's true. Because you can't just be physically like not maybe what people find attractive, but you also need to have other things going on for you. Like I said, you need to have the right personality, like characteristics, like your life moving forward. So if you don't have any of those and you're not like what is seen to be as attractive from society, then of course not, like it's not gonna work out.
Okay, cool. And then, going to what we were saying before, when men look for a serious girlfriend,
Yeah.
right, to take seriously long term, do you think that girl should continue showing herself on social media after they are in a relationship?
I feel like it depends on the boundaries that he has set in the relationship with you. So if you've both got into a relationship and there's been no boundaries set, like at all from his side or from your side, then she can post herself. But if he's had that conversation with you and he's like, look, I don't like you posting that, then of course, like you should think forward and not just not think for yourself, also think for him.
So basically discuss it beforehand.
Yeah, discuss it beforehand so there's no like issues or like, you know, disagreements, because it could be something that will put someone off a relationship as well.
So tell me why you think men have such a issue with their girlfriends or wives being on social media. And have you experienced this yourself? Do you see like your friends or, you know, some people that you know?
Yeah, so I feel like the reason why men have issue with their girls being on social media is because of basically attention, which is what us girls get, and also the wrong kind of attention, or like access as well, because they don't want anyone just having access to you or your life or what's going on in your life. So I feel like the reason is like attention and like access. Also, the question was why.
Yeah, so why do you think men have a point of contention and why they have a problem with, you know, their girlfriends and wives being on social media?
Yeah, because of basically because of attention. And I feel like personally I've had this situation happen. Like I have of course like been with someone and they've told me like, I don't really like you posting certain things.
What was your response?
I said, first of all, I was quite younger, so I was a bit more immature. So I was like,
Okay.
why is that a problem?
Rebel.
Yeah, like why is that a problem? Other girls are posting this.
Who
They
is
have
this
a
man, bruv? I'm gonna continue posting.
Yeah, like that's the kind of like mindset I had. But when I left that relationship, I looked at myself and I was like, actually, I wouldn't like him to post that as well. But it was kind of like,
Is it the same thing if he posts it?
if he posts like, I don't know,
Does
him
he
in the gym,
receive the same amount of attention?
if he posts
compared to
himself in the gym showing his abs, I feel like he would definitely. But if it's him just posting himself like normally, then most likely not as much as women.
Yeah, I think since you mentioned it, when guys post themselves, these personal trainers and gym guys, when they post their like transformation or body, do you know who kind of comments the most? It's other men. Like they will be like, yeah, bro, amazing body, bro, and like they would, you know, ask how they got that body and stuff like that. but they will still obviously have more chances of getting a girl. Like obviously girls are going to be attracted to that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously one of the reasons, since we're talking about it, I will tell you exactly why, right? Why social media, you know, the girl being on social media, man, wouldn't like that. I will give you a car analogy, right? What's your favorite car?
I don't have one, but if
If you had to pick one,
I
your
would say
dream
like
car.
a Range Rover.
A Range Rover.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I like big cars. So.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
So let's say you saved up for this Range Rover.
Yeah.
Right, you're ready, you're on the way to the showroom, right? You've got the money in your pocket. You go in the showroom, you see the salesman, and then he's like, yeah, your car is ready, and you're so excited. You're like, wow, like this is my car. And then you see it, you walk around it, you go inside, and you touch everything. Like, yeah, this is mine now, right? And then just before you drive it off, the salesman goes to you, hey, by the way, yeah, this is yours, but you gotta bring it back to the showroom,
Okay.
so other people can look at it, other people can maybe test drive it.
Okay.
What would be your response to that?
You've already paid for the car.
You've paid for the car, it's your car, but you still have to take it back to the showroom.
Of course I'll ask for like what's the reason, and like
It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's like you're gonna be like, hell no.
I mean, yeah, of course I'll be like no, but
why would you say that? Because you
of
own
course,
it.
yeah, I bought the car, yeah.
So do you see what I'm trying to say?
Okay, so basically your analogy is that, of course, that's that being a person.
So obviously women don't like this one because they're like, oh, are you comparing us to cars? But it's an analogy to make women understand. It's when we like put a ring on it or wife a girl, we pretty much take her off the market, and she is ours now. Hence why, her being on social media, she's still kind of garnering all the attention from random men, from other men who are, who will just give her attention and likes and DMs. All this she's receiving, right? And it's like a huge form of disrespect because you are not single anymore. Previously you were single, but now she's in a relationship, still being on social media acting as if you're single. It's like a form of disrespect to that man because he's given you that ultimate the ultimate kind of gift that a man could give a woman, which is a relationship. It's not, you could, like, obviously, smashing would be just like very short term, right? And women don't want that. Women want like a secure long-term relationship or marriage. So when a man does that, he's pretty much paying full price, right? So he wouldn't want to go ahead and kind of wife that up if he knows she's going to continue showing herself on social media. What do you think?
No, I don't understand your point, but I don't agree with you completely because I feel like nowadays it's the same situation as men. Like they post themselves the same way and they have social media the same way. Necessarily they might not get the same attention, but they feel like if they're telling me like, look, I won't have social media as well in case I have any access to me. Then of course you should, you can agree with them and tell them like, okay, I won't have it as well. So it's like kind of.
So you're saying both the parties should agree not to be on social media?
Yeah, because it's only fair.
What if he has a business that he needs to run?
I mean, if he has a business, then it should be a business account, not his personal account. So he won't be posting himself. So it'll be just his business account.
But do you really think he's getting anywhere near as the kind of attention and messages, DMs that you will be getting? Like,
not necessarily, but of course he's still gonna have access to girls trying and like, also like it goes both ways. I feel like that's my point. So I feel like, of course, if a woman has access to your man and another man has access to me, like it will not both be fair on both of us. Whereas if it's a business account for a woman or the man, as long as I'm not posting myself, then I feel like that should be okay.
Okay, cool. So you said earlier on, right?
Yeah.
We're in like a time of like dating and stuff like this. So in terms of marriage, do you think, you know, who has more benefits in getting married, a man or a woman?
Um, I feel like more likely both,
Tell me why.
but people would say women because I feel like when you get married, of course the next step is to like move in and have kids and grow a family, and you know, some women might want to choose to work after that, some might want to stay home and take care of their kids. So I feel like maybe men might think, or like, you know, the society of men, they might think women, because they're at home, they're chilling, they're just taking care of their kids, but there's much more behind that. And also especially if it's someone that a female that also works and has kids and take care of the house. So
Yeah. So I think I'll give my perspective. I think for men right now in this current day and age, they don't really see much benefit in getting married, because if they can kind of get certain things without getting married, right? So
yeah.
I would say one of the, you know, before everyone gets triggered, I would say I am still for marriage. However, if you do it properly in a traditional way, um, traditional way, like, like we're in back in the 1950s. But let's be honest, it doesn't really work like that. Like I said, um, mentioned earlier, like the woman will still kind of show herself on social media unless you arrange that beforehand. And also, I would say one of the main reasons men should be getting married is to have children. Like that's one of the main reasons, because to raise children, you need a both mom and a dad,
Yeah, I
right?
agree, yeah.
So, because I think that's a lot of the problems that kind of stems nowadays is comes from like single mother households. So I think that could be avoided obviously through marriage and more people getting married. However, again, like I said, like even statistics show like women initiate 70% of divorces, and they're the ones who, like, to break it up and end it. So when men like look at this, it's like off-putting. Like they don't want to kind of go for that. And it is men who kind of get the bad end of the deal, because men are not the ones to break up, it's women. Like men would break up for maybe a really serious matter, but even then, like there's a saying, right, that goes like it's cheaper to keep her, meaning if women are initiating, like I said, 70% of divorces, but men, it's kind of like for them to actually, go through that divorce, it takes a lot of cost with like lawyers, family court, all this kind of who has the custody of the children, alimony, so like, providing finances to her even after you are, divorced. So what do you think about that?
I feel like not really, because men do typically leave, but that's
For what reasons?
for wanting to like find better, because guys always think grass is green on the other side and it's not. So
Really?
yes, I've had personal experience as well, like very recently. So I feel like guys will leave when they feel like they can find better, or when they feel like their time with you is over. So that's what like I
That's your
feel like.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, I would have to disagree, because statistics really show that men are not the ones who are breaking up and stuff like this. Because for a man to break up, he would need something very serious to happen. Maybe like she cheated or something like this, right? But for women, a lot of the reasons is like it can be very like just one day she can just wake up and be like, oh, you're not making me happy or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
or something emotional, and then she could like basically pull the plug and she could end that.
I get your point. There are a majority of guys out there that work very hard in a relationship and girls are a bit more sensitive, so they might like push them away. But at the same time, from like my own personal experiences, like out of, let's just say like theoretically 3 times of those like 3 times of me being with someone, it's 2 out of those 3 times it was them leaving because they didn't agree or there was differences, like not very serious excuses, but like minor that could have been changed. But guys, I feel like, well, maybe it's the age group.
Yeah.
I feel like when they feel like they can find something better, they will go.
So speaking about marriage, do you think a lot of men actually want to be with one woman the rest of their life?
I feel like no.
Tell me why.
That's the problem. Because, like I said, I feel like they always think there's someone better out there. And they don't always get it. And then in the end, they always come back when they know there's no one better out there than the woman that's treated them the best. So I feel like no.
Yeah, so I would say like the mating strategy for men and women is completely different. For women, it's to lock down, find the best man and lock him down, right? So, you know, he's doing well for himself, he's financially well off, etc. And to lock him down and have children with him. And women are happy with being monogamous all their life, right?
Okay.
However, with men, I'll be honest with you, men are always gonna kind of want a variety, right? So whether men can actually exercise these options and whether they actually have these options, you know, that's not always the case. For most men, that's not always the case, right? The average man has like very few options, right? They can't really, you know, attract any girls or anything like that. So those are like the kind of differences between like men and women wanting to kind of be with someone for the rest of their life. What do you think?
I feel like no, because the guys that I've known, or even my like male friends, I feel like they find it very hard to settle down with one girl because it's always like, oh, but this girl could be like my side chick, or this girl could be like the girl that I feel around with, or this girl could be the girl I go on holidays with. I feel like they're not serious, so it's very hard to find a guy that's all about you and that will be loyal and stick to that one girl, because loyalty is a very big issue in this generation.
Alright, so let me give you a scenario, right, instead of a question.
Yeah.
If you had these two options,
Okay.
A being you have an average man who works in, let me see, Asda.
Yeah.
And he will make you his wife and he will be loyal 100% to you.
Okay.
That's option A. And then option B would be if there's a guy who is, you know, doing well for himself, he is earning much higher than the average guy, and he is, you know, he's gonna make you his wife. He's willing to give you the lifestyle, the house that you want, the cars, the Range Rover maybe.
Okay.
And he said, look, you're gonna be the main, however, I'm gonna have a few side chicks as well. What would you pick?
Oh,
You have to pick one.
I'll be honest with you, that is quite a hard question because people do love like materialistic stuff. But if I can, you know, grow with someone, I would pick, of course, someone that's loyal.
So let me make it more trickier for you.
Okay.
This average man that you picked, you don't know if he's gonna grow. You don't know what he's gonna do. He might stay in Asda all his life. You don't know. He's gonna be the average guy. So there's no potential for him to, from 20k to go up to 50. That is your option right there. You chose it. And this guy, so this guy with this whatever month, 20, 30k, he's gonna take you maybe on one trip per year, maybe. He won't be providing you the extravagant lifestyle. You will not get a Range Rover. You will maybe share a Micro.
Okay. I feel like even then, if I'm going to be completely honest, even then, if I'm looking for marriage and I'm looking for something completely serious, I will have to stick beside him, because if that's my man, I'm gonna take care of him as well.
Really?
If he can't grow, then I'll have to make sure I grow and I do better for both of us. But I can see why, like, people would say the other guy, because you got the lifestyle, you got like the fun and everything, and like, why not enjoy that? But at the same time, if I'm looking for marriage, I would have to go, the average man. Whereas if I'm young, I'm just dating, I'm not looking for anything serious,
Yeah.
then of course, like, I would go for the other guy, because if that's what he's gonna treat me as, of course you would treat them the same way.
So when you're younger, you would pick the more higher value guy who will
Yeah,
give you that lifestyle
yeah. If I'm gonna be honest, I would
to
say
like have
yeah.
fun and stuff like this.
Yeah, like I wouldn't like
But
deep
what
down
if,
I would be upset.
okay, so but obviously when you are with this guy, this average guy, you're gonna have
Yeah,
children, right?
yeah.
So eventually you're gonna need to take care of, you need to be taken care of, and your children, and then obviously him. So pretty much, don't you think you're gonna be struggling? So you're gonna be struggling with this guy, but this guy here, the higher value guy, he will, you don't need to worry about your kids. They're going to be sorted. You're going to be fine. You're going to be going to trips every month. It's tempting,
I
isn't
feel
it?
like it is very tempting. For men, they don't really care. They're very even sloppy about cheating. They don't give a damn. But I feel like as a woman, like, if you value yourself and if you love yourself and you don't want to see yourself hurt, you will not pick that. But some women are still like young and learning, and I feel like they're very gullible and unaware of their self-worth and self-respect. So I feel like it will be easier just going for that guy. And majority of those girls, like, like, you might think they're being loyal, but they're probably cheating as well on their partner, which is kind
Which
of
girls are you talking about?
like, if they know their man is cheating, like, those girls, because they want to
What,
keep
they're
the
going to cheat
relationship.
back as like
Yeah,
revenge?
if they know that their man is cheating, they will cheat back. But the guy's not gonna have a clue, because like I said, men are more sloppy than women about cheating. So I feel like that guy's not gonna have a single clue. But that like I said, that's a very toxic relationship, and that's not gonna last, and it's not
Yeah.
gonna be marriage or husband material.
So cheating, so would you say from that, cheating is it the same for men and women? Or is it different?
I feel like no, because the moment a woman cheats is more from like an emotional place. Like, they feel hurt or upset, and they do it more like as a revenge or get back.
Okay.
Or they don't love you. But when guys do it, they'll still be in love with you, like they say,
Yeah.
and they'll still have kids and stuff with you, but they'll still cheat on you.
Yeah. See, I 100% agree on that. Let me expand on that. So I'll say that when men cheat, it's manslaughter, and when women cheat, it's premeditated murder. Meaning, when women cheat, like you said, they have to have an emotional connection. So something must have happened, not just at that moment, but like way before, like few months ago, right? And she's like been planning it. Something he did wrong or something happened in the relationship in order for the woman to cheat, right? However, when a man cheats, men are very physical, right? So he could have a wife who is amazing, and they both love each other, but he could go out and smash another girl and come back home, and it won't really affect him. It won't really affect the relationship. What do you think about that?
I feel like I agree with you, and some people might think that's a bit strange, because as a woman I'll be biking up those girls, because I have like seen it happen, and I do know like women will do it as a get back or from an emotional place. Like, there's no way like a girl.
Or you've seen friends like who have done that?
Um,
Or people that you know, whatever.
Actually, yeah, I have seen friends that do that, and I have friends as well. Like, they've asked me for advice. They're like, "Oh, mom, like, my man, I know my man is cheating. Like, I've created this fake account," and I'm like, okay, if they're doing that, like, leave. Like, my first reaction is to leave, of course. But they're like, no, but he treats me this and that.
Wow. So they created a burner account
Yeah.
to go and like
Test them.
see what they're up to and stuff like that?
Yeah, like to test his loyalty.
Oh, like DM him.
Yeah, like test
Oh,
his
I see,
loyalty
okay.
and stuff. And when they've seen that he crumbles,
Yeah.
you know, guys will lie and they'll manipulate you, but like she knows that. I'm like, you know what, you should do the same thing so you can emotionally move on
That
from
is
the
so
guy.
toxic. You
I'm
told her that. That is extremely toxic. I'm
Because-
disappointed.
I understand. Well, this was a while ago, by the way. But the reason I've done
I thought you were a good girl. Now you're letting me down.
Well, the reason that being like, I'll back myself up here, because you need to, if you can't leave first, like emotionally leave, because he clearly doesn't deserve you.
Okay.
Like, if he has done this to this account, how many other girls has he like led on and God knows even like met up with? And I'm not saying cheat on him like physically with someone, I'm saying like just mentally move on from him. If another guy better comes along, then give him a chance. And when you feel ready to move on, like just break it up and tell him the truth.
Yeah. So I would say if a woman does this and you know this method of going back out there and getting revenge,
Yeah.
who does it hurt more? Does it affect the man? It doesn't affect the man. It hurts her more. So like women like to say like this, like, oh, it's revenge and stuff like that, but it's actually in the long term it's hurting her more. Why? She's adding more bodies, right? She's increasing her notch count, and that will eventually affect her. However, the guy having a going out and smashing, his body count ain't really affecting him like that. But especially if she has a kid or something like that.
I feel like if it's on a deeper level, like you have a kid and everything, I feel like maybe not from one, like maybe not smashing, because that is something very serious. I would say more on a level of like speaking to another person or giving them a chance. And of course, if the other person is better than that guy, then it could be something there potentially.
So is this all while she's in a relationship with that other guy? Or
if he's in a relationship, if he's cheating on you and you know he's cheating on you, like
wow,
why
that is some toxic advice, girl.
I know, but I feel like men are toxic, so I feel like if they're gonna treat you that same way, it's only right if you treat them that same way. And I feel like that actually does hurt a man, even though you might not agree, because I have seen it happen, and I have seen that guy literally crumble and get like very upset, like emotionally upset, like because it will hurt him knowing that she's capable of leaving me and she's capable of doing what I'm doing to her, and it's like getting a taste of your own medicine. So you could say it's toxic, like I agree it's toxic, but I feel like that's the only way you can make someone understand how you felt.
Okay, cool. So would you say, so let me give you another scenario.
Yeah.
In about 10-15 years down the line, if you have a son, right, since we're speaking about body count, your son is at uni, right, and you're a mother, he comes home one day, he's like, yo mom, I've got, I found the one, I found this amazing girl, right, and then like he shows you the picture and you're like, oh, she's pretty, and then he goes, yeah, but this girl has a body count of 100. What would you say to your son, and how would you advise him? How would you maybe save him from that, or would you save him? What would you tell him?
I feel like I will be honest with him. I'll be like, I will tell him like if she's at an age where I'm at right now, I feel like I'll tell him that's not normal. And also, like, what is she looking for? Has she told you what she's looking for? Because she could just be playing with your feelings. And I feel like body count, it matters and it doesn't matter at the same time.
Tell me why it doesn't matter.
Because it doesn't define you if you're looking for something serious. However, like, just looking at it, like, physically, like, you telling me your body count is 100, like, that could make me feel like, okay, you're not looking for anything serious. However, it's the person's intentions. So
are you talking about men or women? Because if you're talking about a man,
women,
I would agree with you. So a woman can have like 50 body count and it's gonna be fine.
I feel like if it's done very earlier on and they're like a lot older, then fair enough. But if they are very young and they have got a high body count, then it's a bit like,
red flag.
Yeah, but it is a bit of a red flag. It goes the same for men personally, I feel like, because
Does it really?
yeah, because if I feel like you got a high body count, I just think you're for everyone.
So you rather have a man who is a virgin?
I don't really care if he is a virgin, to be honest with you. I feel like I wouldn't really care.
That's not
As
true.
long as
Because you wouldn't go for those guys anyway.
I feel like it depends on the guy. If you're my type and if you're like we get along, if you're a virgin, why would I care about that? Unless you're keeping it. It
So the
depends.
advice to your son that you love would
Yeah.
be go ahead,
I would say
or
go.
like would you be like, yo, no, leave her right now.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be a serious thing with this girl. Go and find someone with a lower body count.
I feel like because it is my son, and if he's at age where he can do what he wants, I cannot really tell him what to do exactly. Like I can't be strict on him. However, I will tell him. I would advise him like just be careful, and she could not be looking for something potentially serious, but also know her intentions first. So I feel like I'll tell him like this is your relationship. You can keep it, but you would need to speak to her. Or as a mother, I would speak to the girl as well.
You
Like,
speak to the girl. What would you say to the girl?
I'll have like
Can
a
you
womanly
please,
conversation.
What go on, tell me, what would you say?
Of course, I would just tell her like sit her down like one to one. Just tell her like, like what's going on, how you finding the relationship, like etc. When the conversation starts, and I will ask her like, do you mind sharing with me how many partners you've had or like anything like that, so I know what your intentions are with my child, like with my son.
Yeah.
So I feel
So can you show me a list of the 50 guys that you've been with, and my son is gonna be the 51 guy?
I feel like not necessarily like that, but I will have like a like a light-hearted conversation with her and just ask her like, what's your intention with my son? Because of course at the end of the day, as a mother, you would not want to see your child or your son hurt. So I would ask 100% what's your intention, and if I do see a few red flags, I would tell him like, she's not the one.
She's not the one.
Yeah, she's not the one.
Okay, cool. So I wanna use this time to kind of answer any questions that you may have.
Okay.
So think of any questions related to some of the topics that we've discussed, or anything that you want like a male perspective on, and like a honest answer. So yeah, I'm here now. You can put me on the spot. Ask me anything.
Okay. I feel like at the top of my head, I feel like I would say I just want to know why guys find it like, why do guys cheat basically? I just want to know that.
Why do guys cheat?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of average guys, you would see that they probably won't. I'll be honest with you, they really won't cheat.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the options there, right? They don't have that attraction level to actually go out there and find another woman to cheat with, right? It is only a certain tier of men who are cheating, the top 10 to 20% of men who have all the options, who have a popping Instagram, who are good looking, they've got everything in order. That kind of brings all the women to him, and women start flocking to him. So he has the option to cheat, and most likely, because he has that money, he would go ahead and cheat. But again, he will not stop loving his wife. He will still go back and still, love his wife the same way. Again, because it's physical, right? So I would say, yeah, the good news is that the average man probably won't cheat. They will probably be loyal to you. But the guys who are, up there, they will. And I'll tell you this, right? If you go in the club and there's like Chris Brown there, right? Women are not necessarily, they're never going to be thinking, oh my gosh, I wish Chris Brown is going to be loyal to just me. Right? Because they already know the reason why they're attracted to him is because there's other women around him as well. It's called pre-selection. When like you're not going to be attracted to a man who like no one's attracted to, like he's, I don't know, some loser You're gonna be like, what the hell? Women are attracted to other men who, are kind of getting all the attention from other women as well. So yeah, that's the answer to that question.
I feel like I disagree with you.
Tell me why.
Because, first of all, popularity doesn't mean like you get my attention in a way where I would, find you attractive. But that's because some girls want something like different. They don't want to be with the same guys that any girl can get. Because if anyone can get them, why would I want them?
Yeah, so that's how it works for us, meaning we look for women who are low-key, who've got 300, 400 followers only, right? Because compared to like thousands of followers, we look for that because, we want to know that she has not been around the block. But it's the other way around. For women, it's actually the opposite of what you said. Women would rather have a man who is wanted by other, women, because otherwise it's like, why, a woman would think, why would I want him if no one's wanting him? Why would I want him?
No, that's true. I agree with you in that sense. Also, back to the cheating thing. I feel like when I said I disagree because I don't think majority of men are loyal, and I feel like I feel like it's easier for guys to cheat because they don't need to have an emotional attachment to the girl, and also it could be literally going to the supermarket and they might bump into someone, they might find someone attractive and be
it's
like,
that easy.
My girl is not
it's
around.
That easy?
Yeah, and it has happened. Like, it has happened. Also, peer pressure, like having the wrong friends around, guys will get peer pressure. They'll be like, oh, can you bring a girl for my girl? Like, like a double date sort of thing. Like, oh, I'm trying to move to that girl. Like, do you want to move to her friend? And then you're like, no, I have a girl. And they're like, so she won't know. It don't have to be anything serious. The next thing you know, it's something serious. And also, I feel like guys that do often go out quite a lot, it is easier for them to cheat, like physically,
Okay.
So I feel like it's so easy for men to cheat nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. Men obviously cheating, it would be very physical, where when women cheat, the threshold is much lower. Meaning, if they're in a relationship and a guy slides into her DMs, and if she even entertains that and replies back like, hey, like, what's up? Even that's cheating for women, right? Because again, if you're satisfied with your husband and you love, admire and respect your husband, why on earth would you reply back to him, right?
No, I do understand that, but I feel like sometimes women will do it in a way, you might not agree, they might do it in a way like they might want to keep that person on a friendship level.
Okay.
But not necessarily maybe entertaining it.
This is so toxic.
Well, whereas their partner might think of it as like cheating.
Yeah.
Because it can happen both ways. Like, a girl might DM you or like try to speak with you, and you might say like, what's up, or like, how is your day, or something like that. Is also maybe classed as cheating, but it just depends what you and your partner think is cheating. Some people are okay with their partners having male friends with the other gender friends.
Yeah. So do you think when well, that's crazy. So you're saying when a man is in a relationship, he, like at work, or a woman is in a relationship at work, she could have like, other male friends and colleagues she can kind of build a connection with whilst she is married or in a serious relationship. Is that acceptable?
I feel like it depends on your husband. If my husband doesn't want me to flirt with sorry.
Wow.
Sorry.
If he says yes, it's okay, right? You would go ahead and flirt.
No. Sorry, that was a slip of the tongue.
Sure.
I meant like if my husband is telling me it's okay for you to like have a friendship with my male colleagues, then that's okay. But if he doesn't say anything and my male colleagues are speaking to me, like, I will not really think of it as anything. Like, I'll think of it as like, it's just a friendship. And of course it depends on like their feelings towards you and your feelings towards them as, being your friend or your colleague.
So you're thinking of it as a friendship, but are these male colleagues and these male friends, are they thinking of it as a friendship?
I feel like they shouldn't, but if they do, or you get a sense that they do, you need to put them in their place. You need to tell them like, look, I have a husband or a man, and they don't like that. So if you do this again, or if you try to like, initiate anything, this will be the end of our friendship.
So wouldn't you say it's best to just not deal with them at all and just keep it very, work related and keep it very cordial with them instead of like having a friendship?
That would be easier, but at the same time, you can't, stop yourself from having friends or like a social bubble. Like,
I mean, you can still have girlfriends, but in terms of the male friends, they obviously, men want one thing pretty much. So when, they're in this friend zone, whatever, they're pretty much getting kind of dangled the carrot in front of them and like, look, you don't have it now, but you may get it one day. If the relationship with my boyfriend ends, you may get it. So these men who are in the friend zone, they're just like in the back burner. They're just like waiting for that opportunity for something to happen. And these guys, again, they don't have no options, so they will be waiting for months, even years, waiting, and when they get opportunity.
I feel like I do understand your point, and it is true in some cases. But if you have if you have a conversation with that person and they genuinely don't have any feeling towards you, then it would be helpful to just keep it as that. Also, you do need male friends and other reasoning, to get their point of view or to understand the male perspective better.
You would be friends with a guy to get like that male perspective, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like you're getting a lot out of that relationship with that male friend. He's he'll help you whenever you need help. If your car breaks down or whatever it may be, you're getting that emotional stimulation, right? But what is the man getting from that friendship, being a male friend?
I feel like whenever they need me or they need you to help them, I feel like it's a two-way thing. Like, I'll be there for you as long as you're there for me.
What will you help them with?
Like, I don't know if they need advice or anything, or if, let's say, I don't know, they have a girlfriend or they have a sister or someone, and they're like, oh, could you, help me do some shopping for my sister or for my girlfriend? Like, I'll be there for you. Or even let's say, oh, could you help me decorate, this room for my sister's birthday, or this hall for my sister's birthday? If you could just help me, I will be there. Or if you can do my
girly
hair
stuff
or something. Yeah, like girly stuff, or anything they will need help with, or if you can drop something off to me, or drop me somewhere, I would, because I feel that's a two-way thing. It is more than just them being a male. Some guys will look past the opposite gender or the attraction. They might not even find you attractive as it's just a friendship thing. They might not even find you attractive.
Okay, cool. So do you have any more other questions?
I feel like, what do you think of the men or the guys in this generation compared to how it was back in the traditional times or 1950s?
Yeah. So of course previously men were more masculine. They were kind of more on a mission. They were doing something with their lives. However, men now, a lot of men are kind of just laid back, playing video games, not really aspiring to be anything, and they're pretty much like loser men, right? And which makes it hard for themselves, first of all, because when men are living that sort of life, it will make them depressed, and then they would get mental health issues and stuff like that, because men are designed to go out there and conquer and build things, right? But of course that also affects the women as well, because now women have a smaller kind of pool to choose from, right? Because most of these guys are how I described. Women are very selective. They're not going to necessarily want these guys. So now all women are right now going for a certain minority of men, like the top 20%, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like kind of skewed the dating market in that sense. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Okay. Well, to be honest with you, I actually agree with you in some of the things. And yeah, men, I feel like nowadays are a bit laid back and a bit not on their shit as they used to be back in the day.
Yeah, like compared to like our grandfathers and stuff who
Yeah.
like went to war and stuff like that.
What do you think of interracial marriage or relationship, or also like kind of like different marrying into different religion and like traditions and stuff? Like let's say like a white guy marrying let's say like a Middle Eastern Arabic Muslim girl, like for example.
Is that for your own experience or?
Definitely not my own experience, no. But that's an example.
So I would say, I mean, it's kind of two ways I can answer this. Like if you're from an Islamic culture,
yeah,
or Muslim culture, it's advised for men are allowed to marry out of the religion. So men are allowed to marry people of the book. So Christians, Jews, they are allowed to marry, right? However, when it comes to women, it's very different, right? Muslim women can only marry Muslim men.
Yeah.
So that's that in terms of religion. So in terms of interracial dating and, you know, stuff like this, I would say there's gonna be, if you're gonna kind of be a serious thing and it's gonna be a serious relationship and you're gonna, you know, introduce, you know, each other to your families, I would say kind of weigh up the pros and cons.
Yeah.
So the cons being, I can't really think of any pros at the moment. Yes, I said it. I said it. Cons would be that you won't be able to speak that language. There's going to be a certain language barrier, and that's with the family as well, right?
Yeah.
A certain language barrier, and it's just a cultural difference. So certain sayings, certain jokes, certain sarcasm, it just won't be there, right?
Okay.
So if that's important to you, obviously with interracial dating, you won't get that. However, with someone who's in the same kind of race, you could kind of connect with them with that.
Okay. I feel like when you said you can't think of any pros.
You can maybe tell me the pros. Go
I
on.
feel like there's quite a bit of pros. Like there's quite a lot. It depends on the relationship. I feel like you could teach each other about, you know, the differences, like your culture, and also you could teach them your language or like communicate with them, or like any jokes you got. Like you can always teach it to someone. Like it doesn't necessarily mean like they already have to have it. And also if they have a deep relationship and they get along better with that person, then why not like build it? Like you can always build it. Like
100%.
just need a foundation.
Yeah. I think if the connection is there, then of course there's nothing wrong with it, especially obviously in within like even Islam, like obviously we don't have no racism at all. Everyone is equal. There's no you know, everyone is equal. It doesn't matter about the color. So that's all 100%. That's all fine. You know, that's all good. So what else?
This kind of links back to the question I asked. Would you let your son, well, actually no, would you let your daughter, being like, you know, religious and like maybe Islamic, marry a guy that's, let's say, white, for example?
You're really trying to get me cancelled here. You really want me to, you're questioning me at like the highest level. You
okay, well, to make it easy, I feel like it could be.
Yeah, go on, tell me.
I feel like it could be like, of course, you know, from your own like background, like could be you specifically. Doesn't mean like this is something other people have to disagree with.
But you're saying my daughter.
Like, yeah, like you asked me, like, if I would let my son, like, you know, be that type of girl. I feel like same way, like, would you let your daughter marry? He could be any race, but let's just say if he's Christian and your daughter is Muslim, let's just put it that way. Would you let your daughter marry this guy that's Christian, that has a whole
So
different belief?
Islamically, it's not even about me letting her or not. Islamically, she'll be going, it will be haram. However, if it's within the same religion, you know, as a father, I need to look at his characteristics, his morals, his values, stuff like this first before I can kind of disregard him, right? If he has everything else on point. So I would have to look at those things first. So I think you've got my answer. Have you got my answer?
I feel like I do. No, I do understand where you're coming from, honestly. But I just wanted to get an insight of, you know, why, like...
what is your take on it?
Because why in Islam, like it mentions, why a guy can marry someone from a different religion, as long as it's those ones. But why can't a girl marry, like, you know, someone out of her religion, like Islamically, let's just say?
Yeah. So now we're getting into like Islam and religion, and I am not some sort of like Islamic leader or, you know, dawah person or whatever. So I am not gonna get into this. Like this whole thingy about like racism and stuff like this. The thing is, we're all very tribalistic, right? It's just in us. We want to kind of connect with others when it comes to relationship and mating with others who belong to the same tribes, right? That's not me saying it, that's just how things are, right? It's only in the very recent times we've got to say things like, you know, interracial dating and stuff like this, right? So if, let's just say, you know, the scenario that you gave me, that this father, not me.
This father.
Not me. This father said, number one, he said, okay, that's cool, as long as he's Muslim. Or even number two, he said, yo, no, like, you will not do this because I will, you know, I want my daughter to date within the race. I wouldn't necessarily sit here, because society right now would call this, you know, father like a, you know, a racist or some crazy things, right? But I 100% understand him. He has, again, that's his daughter. And again, we like to kind of keep our, should I say, bloodline within our kind of, like
within
family
your group.
tree. Within our group. So for that father to, you know, turn this guy away, I would understand him. I would 100% understand him. Whereas obviously right now in society, if, you know, everyone would call him like all kinds of names and he could get cancelled for it. I mean, even me saying all of this stuff.
It is quite a very like deep controversial thing to say. But I do understand why, you know, you could get cancelled for it. But at the same time, it's like people, from the people's perspective, they would say, why can't he, you know, look past race or like different background groups?
Yeah, I do understand that. I get that, 100%.
So I feel like it's a very like arguable thing.
Tell them your background.
Do I have to tell?
Okay, we're gonna keep that anonymous. All right.
Because I feel like I might get judged.
I want you guys. How about this? After you watch this video, comment underneath where you think she's from.
Like guess my background, because I feel like when I go out in public, like no one really gets my background. Like, it's very rare. Like someone will.
What did they guess? You're Somalian?
Absolutely not. It's like physically, of course, I don't look Somalian. I feel like I get Colombian a lot.
Okay.
Colombian, Spanish, Brazilian, along those things. Which
when they say that, do you get a bit gassed?
Yeah, because those women are beautiful, like from those countries, like people are beautiful, but it's more so like skin color, I would say.
People from your part of the world and culture are beautiful as well?
I feel like they're beautiful in their own way, and those people are beautiful in their own way. But I feel like it's not an offense because I don't have anything against anyone from those backgrounds, like South America or anything. I feel like they have different cultures than what I have, and I feel like because I've grown up here, it's like not really a big thing to me for someone to like say something or be like, oh, you're from this background, why don't you act a certain way, being from that background.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. So with that, we're gonna end it here.